Hey, how's it, fam? How you guys doing? Yeah, on this video I want to share a very special herb or plant, because I think it's been a fair question that people has been asking, that because we're in Africa, I'm in Africa anyway, that we're in Africa, and Africa have got a lot of herbs, and can't we find other herbs that are medicinal other than those that Dr. Sebi mentioned? This has been the question. And the answer, I think, is a general answer that for sure there must be some herbs that Dr. Sebi doesn't know about, because he wasn't staying in Africa, even though he used to travel to Africa, but he wasn't here full time. And Africa, I think, as a continent, not only is bigger in size than all other continents, but also in terms of vegetation, it's got a much larger vegetation area than other continents or other countries. So this obviously gives this vegetation obviously not only food to us but also medicine. So today I want to explore one of those herbs or one of those plants. In fact, I had to travel in the middle of the bush. That's why I'm walking around, because it's in the middle of the bush here. All I have is the machete and some 3 dogs. This is one of them. I trust this one. They will die before they let anything come to me. So it's in the middle of the bush, because I wanted to come to the natural habitat of this plant, to the natural habitat of this plant, and also where there's some practical applications for it, because this plant I call it a super plant. This plant is called the scientific name, because in different areas you might know it by different names, but the scientific name is called Ptaeroxylon obliquum. These scientific names are a bit difficult to name, but it's a Ptaeroxylon obliquum. So that you can search it, maybe you can check it with your native language or something. But the common English name they call this a Sneezewood. Sneezewood. I'll tell you why they call it a Sneezewood. But in my language, Eastern Cape, South Africa, they call it Umthati. It's a very known and popular plant in this area. It's a very known and popular plant because of its many uses. And this is one of the plants that Dr. Seven never mentioned anything about, and I think it's just as good as all other plants he did mention. And for myself, I normally compare it with marula plant. You'll see why, because of the properties. It's very similar to marula. So this Ptaeroxylon Umthati, I'll call it Umthati or Sneezewood. This Ptaeroxylon is a difficult name. In fact, there's a city here in Eastern Cape called Umthata City. This is most people know Umthata. It's actually named after this plant. This plant is called Umthati. The city is known as Umthata because it's named after Umthata River, which is very fertile with this Sneezewood Umthati plant. So it's an African plant, and is a protected species, by the botanical gardens and all those other institutions. So, and its habitat is not only indigenous in South Africa or Eastern Cape. Its habitat starts here, if you check it on the map, in Eastern Cape, which is the southern east part of South Africa, all the way to Tanzania, which is East Africa. All the way up there, you find this plant. But I know in Eastern Cape, you have to travel. That's why I had to travel in the middle of the bush to find it, because in some more accessible areas, it's been widely harvested. So I came here so that I can show you the plant, where it grows. I don't want to just cut the plant just to show you, because must practice responsible harvesting. It's getting scarce now, because that's why I say it's a protected species. So that's why I traveled here. So this plant is not only good or medicinal to us. Sorry guys, there's a lot of rocks in this place. I'll show you just shortly. Just wanna stand nice. So not only it provides a lot of value to us as humans, this plant provides a lot of value to wild animals as well, like the herbivores. The antelopes or the giraffes, the places that have giraffes, they eat the leaves of this plant because it's got nutritional value and medicinal value. So one of the things that is most known about this plant. It's extremely hard and durable. You know, it's hard and durable, and it's very valuable in the timber industry. You know, for making furniture, because it will last. I mean, almost forever. This one will last forever. And one of the popular uses for this plant is actually, let me just take my shirt here. One of the popular uses of this plant is in first of all in timber industry, which is the making of furniture, and also is used in railways. If you see the old railways, I know maybe if you've been to the Gautrain station, now they use concrete as a sleeper or the bedding for the rail, the actual rails where the train is traveling. But in the olden times, they used to use the large blocks of this plant because of its durability, you know. So they will lie this on the floor, and then on top of it, they will line the parallel railways. So that has been one of the uses, and they chose this plant specifically because of its, like I said, it's extremely hard and it's durable. They don't have to change it every 20 years or so. You put there, the train itself will the wood will outlive the train. The train itself. You see, it's very hard. And also one of the uses is in fencing post. I want to show you this application now. This is the wood. So they use this as a fencing post. This is a farm. This is the fencing for the farm. So they use this a lot. You see, it's very durable. This one is probably. I'll show you another one. There's a lot of them. There's another one. Let me see if I can zoom in there. Let me just go there. Because it's very durable. Here's another one. You see, this one is probably been here, I don't know, maybe for 20 years or more. And I can tell you it's going to be here even for the next 20 or 50 years. It's a very durable plant. Let me just show you the terrain around. So you can see that the trees here have to grow very high or tall to access the sunlight, because this place it's like in the ditch or something. So yeah, let me come back. I want to come back next to where there's the actual plant. Here it is actually. Here's the actual plant. And this is the leaves. This is how it looks like. And as you can see here, someone did cut here before, but you know, they didn't cut the whole plant because they are practicing responsible harvesting. Even here you can see there's another cut, you know, because so that later on someone can still come and get the other piece, because like I said, it's getting scarce now because everyone is using it for different purposes. So this plant is actually very mystical. It will outlive brass or iron. These are metals. A plant will outlive brass or iron, because what's going to happen to iron? It's exposed to sun, it's exposed to rain. What happens? It oxidizes, or it gets a rust over time, and then it will rust and get finished. This thing will still survive. Like I show you with this pole, it will outlive a lot of those metals. So that's why it's so good. So one of the medicinal uses for this Ptaeroxylon or Sneezewood, let me call it his name, Sneezewood. Medicinally, a dry bark from this tree, they will powder it, and then whenever someone has a headache, you just sniff it, and then the headache will be gone. So that's one of the uses of its bark. And also you can take a piece, even though it's even a fresh piece of the bark, you put it in your cupboards. It will repel you know, insects like any insects in the household, like ants, cockroaches, all these funny things you don't need in your house, because the aroma the aroma of this is actually maybe not so friendly, or the insects don't like it. So that's one of the other uses. Also, I know many people have been asking about warts in Tsompa, how to get rid of warts. This is it, this one, the Sneezewood. You take the resin from the heated wood, and then you just apply it to your warts wherever it shows. Applies to warts, it's gonna make it dry, and then the wart will just crumble, and you just leave the root of it, and then eventually it will go away. So that's one of the things. Also, to farmers, people who have kettles, you take a powder from this it's in a bush here, so there's things walking around, to be careful. You take a powder from this, you powder it, you add it to water, and then you wash the kettles, or with that spray. Basically, it helps to kill the ticks from the skin of the animals. That's why I say the antelopes and the what is this big thing? And the kudus and all these things, they will eat the leaves of this thing, so that the ticks don't stick in large quantities in their bodies. As you might have listened to my previous video, I mentioned about cows and other wild animals. Cows, they need to be taken care of in terms of removing the ticks and everything with some chemicals, deadline or injections and stuff like that. But wild animals don't get this luxury, and this is one of the ways they help to get rid of the ticks. Because a cow, if you don't take care of it, it will be dead within a year or two. It will be full of ticks, it will have disease, and it will die. But the animals in the wild don't need that kind of caring, because they eat the plants that are nourishing them. It goes to that same concept of gene food consistency. You eat what is indigenously made for you. So this is how it applies to these wild animals. So also this Umthati tree, the reason is so good. You might have heard other people or even myself saying, like, plants that are rich in iron are so good, like sarsaparilla or even yellow dog is so good, because iron is the one that conveys oxygen to the brain. But we never talk about oxygen itself. Oxygen, obviously, when you drink water is H2O, 2 molecules of hydrogen plus 1 of oxygen. So once it gets inside, it gets separated. Oxygen this side, hydrogen this side, and then this oxygen is the one that gets transported to the various parts of the body, to the different cells. I want to sit down now, guys. So this plant, one of the things that is good about it, it's got high concentration of oxygen now. Oxygen, like marula. That's why I was comparing with marula at the beginning of the video. It's like the marula plant. It's got a lot of oxygen. If you take a bark, even a fresh bark, here's this plant. Even if you take a fresh bark, you cut the bark, and then you take a piece, just remove it, the outer part. You put it in a glass of water. The same would apply to marula. You put it in a glass of water, and then you will see bubbles going up slowly, and then because it's gonna go down to the base of the glass full of water, and then there you're gonna see bubbles coming up. Again, another bubble coming up. That is oxygen coming from the plant, And one of the other uses, because of this high oxygen content, because as you know that where there's no oxygen, there's no combustion. This is basic science. No oxygen, no combustion. So in order for you to start fire, it must be, oxygen encourages it. No oxygen, you will never have fire. In fact, this is the same concept Thomas Edison used to invent the light bulb, because all his previous experiments, the bulb would actually burn. The wire inside the bulb would burn because there was oxygen. So he got this idea on the making of a charcoal, that the charcoal, they light it and then they cover it so that there's no oxygen, so that it burns up until you get the charcoal. So he did the same. He just sucked out the oxygen out of the bulb vacuum, and then that's why the wire can burn indefinitely. It will not burn out, you know. It will just light and indefinitely. That is the same concept, because inside the bulb there's no oxygen. That's why when you break the bulb after it's used, you break it, you get the popping sound, because it's now the oxygen coming in. It pops out. It gives the popping sound. So it's a basic concept, because oxygen encourages fire, encourages fire. So one of the uses of this is known to be very flammable in the traditional uses. You're going to start is a fire starter, basically. Instead of having the bleeds or those paraffin, or it's like paraffin, they say, because even the flame that comes from the dry, if I were to take that dry pole and light it, you will see. You see these dogs are also making a lot of noise. So it will give this bright fire because of the oxygen. So that's one of the things they use it as a fire starter, as a fencing pole. It's one of them traditionally, and also as a fire starter. Also in this region, specifically Eastern Cape, because we do a lot of traditional slaughter cows for some sacrifices. So other mystical thing itself. But when you slaughter when you do those ceremonies, you need to bring this. You must bring the one with the leaves now, not the bark. You must bring the leaves, and it will be used as a plate for the meat, or maybe the slaughter cow. They must have this Umthati and another one. I don't know the English name for that one, but it's called Umthati and I'm sorry if you don't speak Xhosa. You have to use this tool. If you don't have them, it doesn't matter how much money you spend on buying the cow and other preparations. If you don't have these things, the ceremony will not be a success. So there's obviously a mystery behind that, which I don't know, you know. But I know it's a must. You must get this. That's why I'm saying even the people who came to cut this part, I'm sure it must have been either for that use or for making a pole, or even sometimes for making a stick. You know, all the people here they travel with stick, so they need a stick, something that's going to be durable. They will use this wood to make a stick in Tonga, you know. So that's one of the things. So this plant is very good. It's very good, guys, and it's accessible. It's accessible. You can check it out with your, maybe you might know it by different language, like I said. But I mean, if you're in Africa, like I said, Africa, from South Africa all the way to Tanzania, and anything in between this region, you find it. I checked it on the map. We don't find it a lot in the western part of like Western Cape, all the way to Namibia and all that side. But on the eastern side, you find it a lot. Maybe Mozambique and all those other places, all the way. You find it maybe by different, like I said, you know it by different name. So the Umthati or Sneezewood. Check out Sneezewood. You know, check it out. Get the bark. If you have warts, you have the. And I know a lot of people ask me about the curing of warts. Now you have the answer. It's a Sneezewood, guys. It's the Umthati. So yeah, it's one of those. Just one of them. I just want to mention. There's a lot of other ones, but I just want to mention this one. I will keep highlighting other herbs that Dr. Sevi didn't mention, because, like I said, our forefathers, you know, our current grandmother. My grandmother is 93. No, she's 95 this year. You know, there's those, but the other thing is they call them by the native names, like Umkhwenkwe, Umhlonyane. Umhlonyane has been popular not so long ago, last year with the COVID in Madagascar. So there's a lot of these other herbs that our parents and grandparents know and used for medicinal purposes. So it's a matter of now getting maybe the scientific name or the English name, and then we explore them, because, like I said, nature. They say that everything you need is within reach. Nature put us in the specific region, and in that region, also anything you need for food and medicine is also in there. So you don't have to worry about the herbs that are in Mexico, because you're not Mexican. You know, there's herbs in Africa that will probably address the same thing. You know, because herbs they work because of their mineral content or chemical composition. you find that I don't know what is the chemical composition of this plant, okay, but you can take it to the lab if you are that interested in the much details and check what is the active ingredient. You might find that in the other region, maybe in Mexico, like I say, or in somewhere in Asia, you find another plant that has a different plant, but that also has maybe let's say maybe okay, maybe oxygen. In this case, this one is oxygen. You might find another plant, like I said, like marula. It's also marula's got high in oxygen, but it's a different plant. It's in a different region. I don't know if we have marula here. I don't think so, but I know somewhere in Central Africa you find it. So that's why you can find it also in other regions. Another plant that is high in oxygen. So that's what I'm saying. What we need is already placed in for us where you stay. So it's a matter of exploring now. That's all we need to do. Explore and check what we can use to address the certain conditions we need to address. So this is it, guys, for this one. Just want to tell you about the Sneezewood. This is it behind me there. But I can't reach to the top because it's very high up there, but at least you can identify it with these leaves. And these days there's even some apps. I do have one. It's called Plant Snip. Another one is called PlantNet. I think, yeah, those I hardly use them anyway now because, but this is what you can use. You just take a photo of the plant and it will identify it for you. But I do sometimes find it inaccurate, so you have to take a couple of photos, take the bark, especially when it's flowering, so that you can get accurate information about it. So, but this one is very, I think everyone knows about Umthati. If you don't know it, I think your parents will know about it, or someone in your area will know about it, especially if you're I'm assuming in the village. People in the city don't care about plants. So, but you can access this one easily wherever you are in Africa. I don't know about West Africa or North Africa, but this is one of those plants you can use, guys. So yeah, this is one of them. I'll be showing more other plants in the coming future. There's another one. I'll show you shortly. But let me, as I move up, let me just continue to show you the other poles, because in this area they use in poles. Here's another one. You find that every second pole is made up of this plant. You see, you can see there's been boring or drilling a couple of times over the years. You know, they take it from one place to another place. So this is it with the Sneezewood, guys. Yeah, I'll be going back now.